My name is Thomas Countryman, and I am the chairman of the Arms Control Association, a non-governmental organization dedicated to helping the world make smart choices on security policy. Previously, I served in the Obama administration as the Assistant Secretary of State for Non-Proliferation. In that job, I made several visits to Japan in 2015 and 2016 in the context of the deep historical cooperation between Japan and the United States on nuclear energy issues. My particular interest at that time was to ask how the Japanese government would justify the continued pursuit of reprocessing spent nuclear fuel into plutonium in the aftermath of the great earthquake of 2011 and the tragedy at Fukushima. I had a specific concern that Japan's policy not lead to a dangerous cycle of action and reaction of more countries accumulating plutonium that could be risky for the security of the entire East Asia region. As a U.S. government official, I couldn't tell the Japanese government what to do. That is not the nature of our historical alliance. But now, as a private citizen, I am more engaged in speaking out on the most difficult and dangerous decisions that the U.S. government makes. And I am encouraged to see groups such as Friends of Manju and Stop Manju doing the same, demanding that a democratically elected government be fully transparent with citizens about the economic and security implications of its decisions. I believe Japan needs that kind of public debate about the long-standing policy of reprocessing spent nuclear fuel into plutonium. This policy is economically wasteful, inherently dangerous, and a risk to national and international security. Japan now possesses 49 tons of separated plutonium, of which 7 tons is located in Japan. To put this in perspective, a bomb of the power that destroyed Nagasaki requires less than 10 kilograms of plutonium. The government and the utilities who own the plutonium treat it as a valuable economic asset, noting that, in physical terms, it is possible to extract far more of its energy in advanced reactors. The problem is that the economic numbers simply don't add up, and plutonium is more properly seen as a waste product with a negative economic value. Even if the Japanese public agrees to the construction of new and expensive advanced reactors, when you add the cost of constructing and operating the Rokasho reprocessing plant, more than 12 trillion yen, the cost will certainly be greater than the cost of using less dangerous, low-enriched uranium to power reactors and directly disposing of that spent fuel. Even the strongest advocates of advanced reactors know that we are decades away from making them economically competitive. And the economic costs matter, not just for Japanese taxpayers, not just for households using electricity, but for the competitiveness of Japanese industrial exporters in a difficult global market. One of the claimed advantages of the reprocessing policy, that it will reduce the volume of radioactive waste requiring permanent disposal, simply does not stand up to scrutiny. 3 experts on the physics of spent fuel, Masa Takubo, Frank von Himpel, and Jungmin Kang, will publish a book this year entitled Plutonium, Nuclear Power, and the Bomb, in Japanese, English, and Korean. It lays out the facts, explaining that the byproducts of advanced reactors raise even greater concerns, not fewer, about permanent disposal. And here I want you to understand one uncomfortable but incontestable fact. Whether Japan builds more reactors or phases them out completely, there must be built in Japan a permanent spent fuel repository. The current policy of reprocessing can never eliminate the need for permanent disposal, and Japan cannot expect another country to accept and store its spent fuel. There's no magic solution for Japan or the United States or South Korea to escape the national responsibility for permanent storage on its own territory of spent fuel. I hope that both proponents of nuclear fuel and of nuclear power and groups such as yours will work together on the urgent national task of finding the safest location in Japan for a permanent repository. Now let me note that I'm not opposed to nuclear power. Nuclear generation of electricity can be an important part of a comprehensive approach to meet the Paris climate goals. But in Japan, the United States, and elsewhere, nuclear power should be employed in a way that is cost competitive with other carbon-free technologies, minimizes the risks to citizens, and does not provoke new national security concerns. And it's important to consider one's neighbors when discussing reprocessing. You live in a dangerous neighborhood, facing active threats from North Korea, potential threats from China, and a rivalry with a neighbor who should be Japan's closest partner, the Republic of Korea. Now, I'm confident that Japan will employ the best measures to secure plutonium from terrorist theft. And I'm equally confident that Japan will forever keep its promise never to build nuclear weapons. But China does not have the same confidence in Japan, and worries that continued plutonium production in Japan, or the start of such a policy in South Korea, would signify an intent to keep open the nuclear weapons option. That is why non-proliferation experts have suggested, and I endorse, the concept of a plutonium production moratorium in East Asia, an agreement that none of the regional countries will pursue plutonium production. Even if the moratorium is only, at first, for a limited number of years, it would help to ease tension in this region. It would be most fitting if Japan, with its long history of global leadership in non-proliferation, were the first government to make this proposal. Japan could take the lead in making Asia free from reprocessing and the attendant risks of nuclear terrorism and weapons proliferation. I hope to see a serious national debate on these issues. I hope it will begin with the Diet ordering an objective outside assessment of the full cost to the Japanese economy of completing and operating Rokasho and building new advanced reactors, to compare that to the cost of a simpler, less ambitious option, the continuation of using only low-enriched uranium reactors, including the final fuel disposal costs for each option. I salute you for your interest in this issue, and even more for your passion. In America, in Japan, in any great democracy, citizens must demand the highest level of transparency and press for a well-informed public debate. Thank you, and God bless you.